Wow, what a game. Welcome back to Saints Live. It finished, of course, 2-2 at Old Trafford. Plenty to dissect from that, Steve. Myself and Steve Forbes are back with you for another Saints Live. As I said, lots to discuss, so make sure you're getting your comments in and we'll do our best to read as many of those out as possible. Lots to get through, Steve.
Yeah, loads to get through, but it's time to welcome back into the fold Dean Hammond and Adam Leitch. Well, What a finish to that game. Dean, were you on the edge of your seat when Obafemi put that one in?
I was, yeah. I was celebrating. It was one final chance for Southampton to get something from the game, and an amazing point away at Old Trafford. But it just shows the spirit and the mentality of the group now, of the squad. You can see the way they celebrated, the way the manager celebrated. It just shows, results are still important for the club, still important for the squad, even though they're safe. The manager did an interview before the game to say that, they were still hurting and still inspired by the results earlier in the season from that heavy defeat to Leicester. So full credit to the squad. They're still pushing on. They're still putting performance out there. And to go right till the end to get a point is fantastic. And, the confidence is growing and growing. The mentality is growing and growing. There's momentum for next season, so I'm sure it's a happy dressing room now.
Adam, we looked dangerous on the attack, good passing through the midfield, strong pressing game. United just struggled to handle it, particularly at the beginning of the game before Stuart's goal.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes Saints were absolutely sensational. I don't think United quite knew what had hit them at that point. The pressing game, and it was exactly what Dean had pinpointed before the match as well, that would be crucial for Saints, is they were pulling it off, and they weren't just pulling it off, they were pulling it off in style as well. United, they couldn't get on the ball, they couldn't get Pogba on the ball, they couldn't get Matic on the ball. That meant no service for the front men. Saints were really compact as a team. They pressed really high and really hard and fast. I think maybe there was so much legwork required to pull that game off, and the accumulation of matches after restart, maybe it was inevitable they were going to fade a little bit, but it was incredible, and their goal was thoroughly deserved. There was no fluke about it. It wasn't against a run of play. They deserved to be in the lead. It was just real crying shame that it couldn't last a little bit longer at that point in time than it did, because they found themselves 2-1 down pretty quickly. But it was just a remarkable start. And again, I think a lot of people will feel very, very happy tonight, not only because of the result, but because once again, that felt like a little bit of a glimpse into where Saints are going under Ralph. That is kind of the pattern of plays that he wants this team to be playing week in, week out, which obviously with a little bit more time, with more time between the games, so fresher legs and things like that, they might actually be able to pull off. And you've seen tonight that if they can play like that, then they can cause major problems for anybody, even teams fighting at the top end of the table who are in great form.
Yeah, we saw McCarthy pull off a decent save against Martial as well early on. Was that a bit of a let-off for Saints, Dean? And how did you make of McCarthy's performance today?
Yeah, it was a let-off. Obviously a slip from Ward-Prowse, which is unfortunate when they had comfortable possession. But an excellent save. He stood up as long as he could. He made Martial make a decision, make a choice, and a very, very strong hand and a very, very good save. But, McCarthy is, since really his mistake against Arsenal, his performances have been excellent. He's made some really important saves. He looks like the established number one at the football club now. He's a very good goalkeeper. He looks comfortable. The players look like they trust him, which I always think is important. It's very important for your back four and the whole team to trust your goalkeeper, because it's such an important position. So he had another good evening tonight, made some important saves, but that one early on to keep the game level was very, very important for Southampton.
Well, Adam mentioned just a moment ago that he imagined there'd be lots of happy people out there, and he's absolutely correct. I'm being inundated here with comments from the fans, so let's try and get through a couple of those now. Stuart on Facebook has said, can we play Manchester clubs every week? Andrew Williams on Facebook as well has said, an excellent and very well-deserved point. I feared we'd get hammered tonight, but to come away with a draw is a fantastic achievement. It is a huge point. Lucy Bennett on YouTube has said, I screamed so loud. I had tons of messages to tell me to shut up. I just couldn't handle that. We were very much the same here. Gemma Robinson on Facebook has said, well deserved, great fighting, very proud. Dave has got in touch and said, great results. So really, really happy fans. Kelly19 on YouTube has said, we are getting points against United and City. Imagine what we can do with reinforcement. And Reese FC on YouTube has said, I've just watched that about 2 hours away from Old Trafford. What a point. Come on, you Reds. And there's plenty more which we'll be reading out throughout the show as well. So if you haven't already done so, get your comments in. Just so much positivity on social media, Steve. The fans are just buzzing. Loads
of positivity. Now we're going to move on to the goal that was scored. So United were playing out from the back. Pogba lost possession to Ings, and then Stuart Armstrong put it into the back of the net. Now, Adam, what did you make of that goal?
Well, I mean, great play from Danny Ings to start with. I think probably the Saints strikers, Danny Ings and Che Adams, they didn't have perhaps their best of evenings tonight overall, I don't think. Especially Che, I thought, struggled a little bit maybe today compared to how he has been. But Danny, I mean, he read Pogba, really. He kind of knew where he was going, and he got in there and nicked the ball from him. And that was a fantastic piece of play from him that really kind of gave Redmond the chance to get the ball in. And then once you found Armstrong at the far post, I mean, you're kind of just thinking he's going to hit that first time. And obviously, technically, that's a very difficult shot to pull off, to hit that first time. But he's kind of got the composure that he's looked across the line, I think, and seen he's got time to pull it down. And then terrific first touch, and obviously a perfect second touch to bury it in the opposite corner. I mean, a really terrific goal from Saints. And I guess the thing that really stands out, as well as the technical proficiency of Stuart Armstrong and the composure, is like I said, it's Danny Ings. It's that pressing from the front. It's not just the striker kind of seeing the ball go out into the midfield area from the defence and then sort of thinking, well, that's my job done. It's the next person's turn to press. It's Ings running in round his blind side and robbing the ball from him, and that's what created the chance. And fantastically taken goal.
Dean, we spoke about Oriol Romeo pre-match. He was perhaps a little bit fortunate to get away with that challenge on Greenwood, but how would you rate his overall performance tonight?
Again, very, very good, very, very disciplined. He set the tone really for the whole of the game. One thing I do really like about him, he's showing signs of, he came through the academy at Barcelona, I believe. His ball retention is fantastic. He rarely gives the ball away. He plays good, neat passes, but he reads the game really well. His defensive duties are excellent. He's a really unselfish player. He plays for the team. He plays for other players, and he understands his role, and it looks like he's happy to play his role. He doesn't try to do anything that's not normal for him, anything that he shouldn't do. He just does his job very well, and he's a big part on why Southampton are playing so well now, and he's filling that position in the centre midfield, making it his own. James Ward-Prowse has obviously benefited from that, and players around him are getting better and better. So he's becoming a real leader in his performances. I can't imagine he's the loudest in the dressing room, but he's leading by example with how he plays. So another really disciplined performance from him. And you, like you say, the challenge was a little bit unfortunate. I don't think it was intentional. I think he tried to stop. Maybe he could have pulled his leg away, but I don't think he tried to hurt the Manchester United player. So another very, very productive performance by him.
Now, way before Obafemi's equaliser and just after Armstrong's opener, United did bounce back with 2 goals from Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. Adam, should Saints have done better to try and stop them? What did you make of those?
It's so hard, isn't it, Steve? Because sometimes you look at goals and you can pick holes in them, and you feel Saints, they just stepped off for that moment and they allowed the ball to come into the box, and you feel like 5 minutes earlier they would have been on that. They would have cut out the supply route at its source with Pogba there. Then once it's in the box, they've got men around the ball. They should probably defend it better. The first one, then the second one, you feel like Walker-Peters, can do a little bit better than allowing Martial to sort of just come in like that and take the shot. Stuart Armstrong's perhaps guilty of drifting off a little bit further up the pitch and not providing the support that he should as well. But I feel a little bit like, in a way, that's nitpicking, because they weren't clear individual errors. They were more what we were talking about, I think, before the game as well, with the importance of the team performance. There were kind of more goals where you think the team might have done a little bit better rather than somebody in particular. But you are playing against a very good United team, and even like the Walker-Peters Martial one, you feel like, that's probably an area of his game as a young man. He's probably learned a lesson there tonight. But nonetheless, look at Martial. I mean, he's a top player you're playing against there, in great form, great power, great pace. Really, really, it's easy to sit and say you shouldn't be allowing him to come inside, but it's another thing trying to stop him when you're up against that kind of quality. And that's why these guys are among the best strikers in the entire world, because most defenders struggle to stop them. So, I'm sure Ralph will look at it and there'll be a few lessons learned there. But I'm not just saying this because of the equaliser, but I think overall, in the context of what that match was and the performance in general, I don't think Ralph will be losing too much sleep or berating too many players over those two.
Well, let's go back to socials now and take a look at what the fans are saying. Lots of compliments coming in, suggesting the work rate of the team was just phenomenal, which of course it was. Chris on Facebook has said, well done Saints, we never gave up and we got what we deserved. Barbara on Facebook as well, good evening, said good work, the power of never giving up. Matt on Facebook said brilliant result and the work rate and desire is impressive. Duncan Atkinson, hello, he's on Facebook too. He says, knew we could get that equaliser, great attitude boys, and well done Ralph for a positive substitution to get the goal. We've got a comment here on YouTube from Kerr. He says deserved that point, and another one here from Xavier on Facebook. He said absolutely brilliant and so much deserved. Greetings from Belgium. Thanks for joining us, Xavier.
Yeah. Now, before the final whistle, before Obafemi's equaliser, we were discussing that there weren't many game changers on the Southampton bench. It seemed a bit limited. Now, are we still missing players like Boufal and Gineppo in these moments, Dean?
Yes, obviously you're going to miss them too. They're very, very talented players, and they can make an impact coming from the bench. They're flair players that are creative. They can give you opportunities when the opposition are tired and there's extra room in attacking areas. But I think it just shows that I'd be excited, if I was a Southampton fan or a Southampton owner, thinking, look at the structure of the club now. We've given the manager a 5-year contract. There's a philosophy in place. There's a structure to what the club want to do. And I'd be looking at the performances now. I'd be looking at the results thinking, do you know what? If we could invest a little bit of money in the right players, whether that's younger players that they can grow into the club or some more established players that can add to what the team's got now, I think it's exciting time. So the summer could be an interesting time for Southampton with the performances they've put in these last, the 9 games they're going to have in this mini season. You'd be thinking, right, if we can add 1 or 2, next season could be a really successful season.
Well, let's hear from you, the fans, once more. Being inundated, as I said, with comments here, so we'd like to get through as many as we possibly can. Andrew Dron on Facebook has said, unlucky not to win, brilliant spirit, proud here in Lowestoft. Blair has said, now it's time for us to own the South Coast. Pamela on Facebook has said, great game of entertaining football. Well done, Saints, persevering to the end, absolutely brilliant. And Carol on Facebook has said, scared the cat with my shouting. Love that. I'd love to have seen that. We also have a comment here from Kevin Gallagher. He said 3 Irish Saints on and 1 gets the goal to draw. Proud Irish Saints supporter. A huge moment for Michael Obafemi there. Adam, what does that mean for him, that goal?
Oh, I mean, it's hugely significant. I mean, we obviously, in the pre-match show, we talked about some of the special goals at Old Trafford down the years. And I wonder if in 5 years' time we'll be talking about that one as something special. If Michael Obafemi goes on to really make his mark as an established Premier League striker at Southampton. But for any young player, I mean, for Obafemi to score any goal in the Premier League is important at this stage of his career. But to get one at Old Trafford, I'm sure a ground where he's grown up watching on TV, fantastic teams playing there down the years, and always dreamt of playing there and scoring a goal there. It's an amazing feeling, and to not get one when you're 3-0 down with 5 minutes to go, but to get one that actually means something, that gets a result. I mean, it's fantastic for him, and as a promising young player, which he is, I'm sure it will do him, his confidence, his development, the world of good. And I kind of expect that he probably will get another chance before the end of this season with another start at some stage, and hopefully he'll take that confidence into that performance when he does get his chance, because I'm sure that's done him the world of good tonight.
Yeah, and just quickly before we have a look at the league table and wrap up, Dean, what positives will Saints take into the match against Brighton on Thursday? How are they going to be feeling about going into that one?
They'll be full of confidence now. From the performance tonight, especially in that first 20 minutes. Like I say, they'll go into the game with almost an arrogance, a good arrogance, that they feel as though they're unbeatable now. They're competing against the best teams in the league, getting results, performing very, very well individually and collectively. And if they reproduce that first 20 minutes of pressing football, playing on the front foot against the Brighton team that like to play out from the back, we saw that the other night against Manchester United, and or Manchester City, and they were 2-0 down. So if Southampton can take that into the game, be on the front foot, their belief levels and their confidence will be really, really high.
Well, we've just about got enough time to take a look once again at what you're saying at home. Stephen Barnard, thanks for your comment. He says we can really push on for top half and beyond next season if we keep playing like this. Hayden has said, always knew we would get the equaliser, had a funny feeling, got a good feeling about the squad. Young and hungry players ready for big things. Liana on Facebook has said, my 10-year-old son George is buzzing. George, so am I. Alco on YouTube has said, come on boys, next up, top 10 finish. And a final comment here then from Desmond Edwards on Facebook. Romeu, unsung defensive midfielder. So once again, Steve, very, very happy fans across the board.
Yeah, indeed. Right, it's time to have a look at the league table and see where that point now leaves us. That's 12th place on 45 points with just 3 games left to go this season.
Well, attention now turns, of course, to Brighton on Thursday. We will be back with you once again for that. Dean, Adam, thank you as always for your company.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Right, as Kenzie said, we're back on Thursday against Brighton. A spirited performance from the Saints, and they leave Old Trafford with a point. So we'll see you on Thursday. It's a 7:20 pre-match show for the 8:15 kickoff there. See you later.